Hey there, and welcome to another collaboration conversation where we talk about anything and everything that has to do with building cohesive, vision-driven teams. Because this is where the greatest impact lies. This is what makes change happen. I'm Casey Watts, Impact Coach and Consultant, and the host of this show. Today's show is going to get started in just a few moments. So as you're getting settled in, leave a comment letting us know who you are, where you're from, and what it is that brought you here. And I also want to take a little bit of time to tell you about something that is pretty vulnerable and burdens my soul. Let me tell you some things that weigh heavy on my heart. And if you feel like this resonates with you, would you please leave a comment or an emoji reaction to let me know that I'm not alone? Okay, here goes. It burdens my heart and weighs heavy on me to know that schools struggle to build a common language around collective efficacy, or a common language around their goals or visions, or any terms for that matter. It weighs heavy on my heart when I notice that schools are functioning as individual separated vessels, separately or even in competition against one another instead of working collectively toward a goal together. It weighs heavy on my heart to see teams struggle because they were never provided intentional time or guidance to determine in what ways each team member contributes. It weighs heavy on my heart to see when teams struggle to collaborate because it's just assumed that they will collaborate of their own accord. But we know that true collaboration must be explicitly taught, modeled, and celebrated. Okay, so here's what else I believe. At the center of what it could be called false efficacy instead of collective efficacy is faux collaboration or fake collaboration. And at the center of fake collaboration is this lack of self and social awareness. And I want to invite you to come join me in a Better You, Better Team Sharecast, which is completely at your own pace learning experience that we will take time to dive into the 6 types of working genius, because this can be the pivotal turning point that makes collective efficacy and true collaboration possible. I want to take you through that learning. If you want to learn more, drop me a learn more in the comments and I will hit you up with some more information about this Marco Polo Sharecast. Okay, so we are about to get started in today's content. If you think you are ready, give me a thumbs up, drop a hashtag ready, and let's have a collaboration conversation so we can all go and unleash our impact. Hey everybody, I'm super excited to have you here tonight. It's going to be an awesome show tonight. Okay, so here's what we are discussing. We want to join in some conversation with you as fellow leaders about how to let go of assumptions that hold us back from collaborating well, or that holds our teams back from collaborating well. If you didn't get to see our first episode, part 1 of the 7 deadly assumptions, you can catch the replay. I'm going to leave that bit.ly link up here right now. You can catch the replay of part 1 by going to this link. You can see it on my website. You can find it on YouTube, or you can see it on Facebook for like the next 30 days. So I want to welcome to our show Alyssa Crabtree, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself, and then we're going to dig into this content together and have some authentic, fun conversation, but we also want to get real with you. Okay, Alyssa, how's it going?
It's going fabulous, Casey. I am, like you said, Alyssa Crabtree from Crabtree Coaching Collaborative, and I am ready to dig into the final assumptions that are killing collaborative teams, because we know if we want our organizations to thrive, we got to get our people working together.
Absolutely. So last week we went through the first 4 of 7 deadly assumptions. Today we're going to go through 5, 6, and 7. So again, if you want to catch those first 4, because we really just don't have enough time to go through all 7 at the same time, go catch that replay. Okay, so tell us, Alyssa, a little bit about yourself, and I really want to know, what is the native or working genius that you bring to the table with the people that you work with?
Yeah, so I do a lot of coaching. I am a coach at heart. I've been a coach for a long time, and a coach in so many different ways. So I have been an instructor. I've been in education for 15 years, a coach for 8 years, and gosh, no, I wouldn't even say longer than that. I would say at this point, because I became an instructional coach after 4 years of teaching. After 4 years, became a coach, and I've been a campus coach, a district coach, and now I am coaching on my own. And I'm coaching leadership because I find truth and I find value in a coaching approach, no matter where I am. And so that makes me a galvanizer. I will tell you, I am that person that's like, okay, adjust here. You could do this. This is your goal. You're going to pivot here. And I am cheering people on all the time. I mean, like, I'm telling you, coaching is my jam. I also feel as though I do hold one of my other, oh my God, is invention.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so I am a big thinker. I am thinking of, just big ideas, how to come up with solutions. I'm constantly thinking of problems and let's solve it this way. But I would have to say I'm a coach all the way. And I do believe, as instructional leaders, as leaders in a corporate world, wherever you are, a coaching approach has longevity versus one and done type, I guess, management.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so before we got on, Alyssa, we were talking a little bit about our weekends and things that we did, and I said I've had a productive weekend. And we would love to hear in the comments, like, while we're just sharing, what your questions are, what your ideas are, what you want to know more about, or if you get an amen that you want to throw out there, just put hashtag amen or hashtag yes. We want to see that because we want to see you interacting. But we were talking earlier about our weekends, and yesterday this really has to do with assumptions because that's what we're talking about. But my son and I sometimes will get up relatively early on Saturday mornings and we will go to the farmer's market. It's one of his favorite things to do. And so we were heading there and I was like, you know what? I am craving a Mickey D's breakfast. Like, I just want to go to McDonald's for breakfast. And I never do that because I never eat breakfast. And if I do eat breakfast, it's generally not from McDonald's. And so we decided we're going to go to McDonald's, and I get in the drive-thru, and they've got the 2 lines now, which is great because it goes pretty quickly. But it was a long line, but both lines were almost to the road. And I was thinking, if I don't get my sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin, it's just going to ruin my day because I've had my mind set on this. And Hayden already knew what he was going to get, a blueberry muffin. So it's going pretty quickly, so I'm feeling pretty confident. And I don't know how many of you are fellow, what's the word for this? I don't know if there's a word, but you have a phobia for like ordering in the drive-thru, because it's just like I get paralyzed, or I get up to the drive-thru and I'm like, wait, what was I going to order? Or am I going to get this order right? It's like that. So I'm thinking as I drive up, okay, I'm going to say I need a sausage McMuffin. That's what I'm going to get. And a blueberry sausage McMuffin and a blueberry muffin. So we get up there and I confidently roll down my window and say, yes, can I get, almost like in a robot voice, can I get a sausage McMuffin and a blueberry muffin? And she repeats it back to me and I'm like, that's what I want. So I pull up to pay. That goes really quickly. And we get up to the next window and I get the paper sack and I set it down and I'm like, all right, we're ready to go to the farmer's market. And we pull out. And because I am just so excited about this sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin, I have my son pull it out of the bag. Well, he hands it to me and I'm like, this is kind of light. And I open it up and it has no eggs on it. And I was like, what in the world? They forgot to put eggs. So we go back to McDonald's because I'm determined. I'm not going to eat something that I didn't order. So we go back to McDonald's and I have Hayden go in for me with the receipt. And I said, just give them the receipt and tell them that we asked for a sausage McMuffin, sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin. Well, a little bit goes by and he comes back to the car and he was like, they gave you a sausage McMuffin. You should have ordered a sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin. So here's the assumption that I made. I assumed that a sausage McMuffin was the same as a sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin. It is not. But you better believe I went back through the drive-thru to get my sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin. And listen, that is a very, very minor assumption, but it affected me. It may be a minor way, but it still affected me. And the problem is that we make assumptions that paralyze our teams and paralyze collaboration. So that's what we're going to dig into tonight, right? Alyssa, tell me what more I need to add to that.
Well, one thing I just want to say here, I know that we're getting into assumption 5, 6, and 7, but I'm going to take it back to assumption 4, where I've stated my expectation and everyone should know it. Even though, and I guess the egg wasn't an egg, like you didn't state it. Sometimes we have this assumption that you're going to read my mind. You know me well enough. You know my quirks. We've been together maybe 3 months by now. You should know what I mean.
Absolutely.
It's not the case. And so clarity is kind. That poor kid that handed you their McMuffin, you know what, Casey, you're a nice person. There are probably some people who would have whipped around and yelled at that poor teenager or adult or whomever it was and made them have a bad day just because they made an assumption. And clarity is kind. We gotta be clear.
That's right. Absolutely. Okay. So give us a hashtag assumption if you are guilty of, or you know someone else who is guilty of making an assumption that led to a consequence. Just type in hashtag assumption. We want to see it. And if you are bold enough, let us know what that assumption was. Even if it's as simple as like, hey, I asked for this, but I got this instead because I was not clear. Okay. So let's jump in because I know people are like chomping at the bit to hear about the last 3 of the 7 deadly assumptions. Here is assumption number 5. Are you guys ready? Assumption number 5, everyone has a shared understanding of the vision, concepts, or goals. Okay. You want to walk us through this, Alyssa? Where do you see this coming into play?
You know, it definitely comes into play in a sense of when we have a goal, or when I've seen it happen all the time. It kind of happens with your Egg McMuffin. Whenever we have like this vision, and maybe the team lead, maybe the principal comes in and they have even their vision statements on campuses are very problematic in a sense of no one knows what the vision really is. They might can repeat the sentence, but they couldn't even tell you what that means because there's not a shared understanding. And so, you know, it really is, what are the success criteria for this vision? What are the success criteria for the concepts? When we get this right, what will happen next?
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. Okay. So this is apparent all over the place with vision. Let's talk about concepts or goals. Like, what are we thinking when we think about concepts? What are the concepts that we believe people have a shared understanding about?
So right now, I am taking several teams through collective efficacy cycles, and primarily they're in education. And so one in particular is just going down to standards. One thing that we ended up doing is we surveyed this team, and it turned out that 4 out of the 7 teachers did not feel comfortable with content. They did not feel comfortable when the team starts talking about standards. What does that mean? And that's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, as adults, we get thrown into the arena without any training or any kind of collaboration. This is why collaboration is so important. And what has been beautiful is the team has now, because we went through this whole protocol and we dug in together, we got our hands dirty, it has leveled the playing field and ensured that, one, every student across the campus in this particular grade level will receive the same level of understanding. Like, we're talking about equitable education here is what we want.
Right.
And then two, it has strengthened the efficacy of these teachers on the team, where we did a strategies gallery walk where we went in and we were diving into our own strategies and building our own capacity for it. And it was so cool to see that first year teacher, or even, maybe it was a 6-year teacher who was just like, oh my gosh, we've never had this conversation before. Their confidence, their whole body language changed. And the team had a shared understanding. So now when they come together, whether they're planning or talking instruction, it's removed a level of frustration that has always been there.
Yeah. I think sometimes some people are waiting on someone to bring clarity to a vision or even begin that conversation. It's kind of like we get into these groups of people and you just kind of look around, and if there's no one who feels comfortable facilitating collaboration, or they haven't had their own mastery experiences, then the team's going to remain stagnant. Someone's waiting on someone else to take the lead with that, to say, hey, let's talk about what the vision is or what our goals are. I want to talk about that concepts idea again, because you and I were talking before this even got started that we jump into things without defining them. And we know how imperative it is to define before you begin. And we know that people get together not even having a common or shared understanding of collaboration. And guys, I'm gonna tell you, I sent Alyssa a message earlier. I mean, right before this live started. It was kind of crazy how it happened. But
you're gonna spill the tea for a hot second. I'm just
I am gonna just spill the tea. And this is a reality, and this is something that I said in my introduction video. Some of these things burden my heart. This burdens my soul. So our friend Melissa sent me something that she saw on Facebook where an administrator, I'm assuming it was an administrator or coach, posted asking hey, what ideas do you have? I've got a team that's struggling. They're frustrated with each other. And then they just leave the meeting wanting to do their things on their own because they feel like they're better off on their own. Here is a response. And I just want to know, if you want to throw an emoji reaction to this in the comments, I would love to see your reaction, because some of you may agree with this. I'm going to flat out tell you that I disagree with it and it hurts my heart. But here's what a response was. If this is a team of veteran teachers and their data indicates their students are all learning what they are supposed to, is collaboration necessary? Collaboration is great and can be a wonderful tool to get new ideas, but at the same time, it may not be what is best for all teachers. As long as they are professional and doing what they are supposed to be doing, I see no harm here. Guys, I just kind of want to throw my phone across the room.
But it goes back to his definition of collaboration is very different than our definition, because his definition of collaboration is just lesson planning.
Absolutely.
That's what he believes it is. And that has been his experience. Last week, we talked about how experiences they can hurt collaborative teams because they don't clarify because of their experiences. If that makes any sense. I kind of rambled. But his definition is based on his experience. His experience obviously has not been positive. That is not what I would say the definition of collaboration is from what he has.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Somebody said, can you define your definition of collaboration? So I'm just going to put a plug here first and foremost that collaboration is our expertise. We both came together because that's our topic of interest. It's our jam. And I believe that some people have different definitions of collaboration because of their experiences or what research they've dug into. But I also want to tell you, we are going to be coming together sometime this semester, hopefully, and doing a webinar that is focused on supporting people with collaboration. And in that webinar, we're going to dig deep with the definition so that people can in turn take that to their teams and ensure that their teams have a solid definition. So I'm going to put it on you. What are you thinking, Alyssa, would be finite's not the word, a brief definition, working definition of collaboration?
I would say a brief definition is when minds come together to analyze a problem, develop a goal that specifically solves the problem, and they're coming together to work on that specific goal. They understand each other's strengths and they play on those strengths. They play on each other's weaknesses in a sense of where I'm weak, you're going to pick up, and they use their superpowers together to solve a problem and create a better system, whatever field you're in. To me, that is collaboration.
Yep.
Like even if you're talking about a soccer game, I got the Dallas Cowboys going on right now. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm like, that team, we know the problem. We got to collaborate to bring it up, to bring it together.
So it's really interesting. The work of Patrick Lencioni and the Table Group, they share a lot about, because they talk so much about working genius and the 5 dysfunctions of a team, they share a lot about the 2 different kinds of work. Like you do have teams that are like working groups, but you also have collaborative groups. They're really 2 different things, because I can have a working group where truly we're coming together to just get stuff done that's on a list. Like I need to make these copies. Can you do that for me? We need to be sure we're getting letters sent out to parents. That's not necessarily a collaborative time, but that's just a working group. A collaborative time, like Alyssa said, is we're coming together to think about the problems, issues at hand, or we're thinking about what we're wondering, and we're taking that wonder through the process of invention, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity to get to an end goal. I love that idea of having that shared goal. It's truly working toward a vision together. Thank you for that question.
And you know what, Casey, I would want to ask the man, I say that man, like it's such a mean thing, that man. I would really like to ask him, what is your team's very specific goal? Have you discussed, because you cannot tell me as an educator, you have 0 pain points.
Right.
I know they have pain points. And what is their specific goal that they're coming together to get, I guess, to accomplish, to have success with, to solve a problem, or to, like you said, this moment of wonder to make things better?
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell how passionate we get because we both will be like, and we just stumble over our words because we're just so fired up about it. Okay, I think we're ready for our next assumption. Assumption number 6. Here's what it is, guys. What we have been doing is working and no one wants to change it. Let's dig into that assumption, because I know this is bound to be happening where you are. And if it is, would you drop in the comments, yes, or it's happening to me, or give me a thumbs up emoji to let us know you have experience with this. What might we notice about people who are making this assumption?
I like to call it the if it ain't broke, don't fix it type mentality. And I'm not going to lie, there are times when I'm like, man, if this is a compliance thing, if it ain't broke, why do we got to fix it? Like, I get that to expedite certain tasks that we need to do. However, if in collaboration, they are talking about it's what we've always been doing. It's working. Why change it? My questions then would be, when was the last time you evaluated your system?
Mhm.
When was the last time that you went back and thought again? I love Adam Grant's book, Think Again.
Mm.
And it talks about if you have gone a whole year without rethinking some of your ideas, you're probably stuck and stagnant. And so I would even ask the teams, what is your goal? They probably don't have a goal. They're okay with being just okay.
Yep.
And they haven't evaluated their system.
Yeah, man, that's so true. And the rebuttal that I often get, and I would say that I see this mostly with teachers in classrooms. I think it can happen with administrators and instructional leaders as well. And a lot of that comes from a fear. I listened to a podcast from Elena Aguilar, just phenomenal. And she talks about resistance and how resistance is really the equivalent of fear. People are working out of their fear of something. And so I truly believe that's where that phrase comes from, because we fear, like we're thinking we're going to have to change something, and change is hard and scary and it's uncomfortable. While we know that there is growth and discomfort and we are okay with that change, a lot of people are not, because it triggers some fear of some things that maybe some needs that won't be met for them. But I also hear teachers say, when they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and I rebuttal with, well, really, we want to evolve with our students and with our society. They say, but my numbers don't lie. Like, I've got great scores. Why would I change what I'm doing? And that's a hard one to push back on, because sometimes it's true. Like, your scores do on paper look decent. My goal then is to help them to see students on a long-term trajectory. So yes, you're looking at short term. You've gotten your students from point A to point B in this short amount of time, and they have made maybe this growth according to the numerical data. But as a whole child, and if we think about them from now into the next 10 years, what will we notice?
Yeah. I would even want to give the students an efficacy survey.
Oh,
How
yeah.
confident are they feeling in their work?
Yep.
How, how confident are they in feeling that they can solve problems in
Yep.
this world? Yes, I understand the importance of looking at that data. And if you have decent data, that's awesome.
Mhm.
One, is it 100%? Because that's the goal. But I do, I like what Teresa said in the comments. She said they usually think it's working and it's not.
Yep.
And it goes back to exactly what you said. It's fear. And even when their scores are good, they're decent, I still think there is a fear to change.
Yep.
And it is hard work. We
Right.
totally understand that. And oftentimes it can become personal, and I'll have to defend this.
Mhm.
It's just always trying to get to that next level. Let's take them to the next level. Let's make it better. Let's always strive for better.
Yes. Okay. Man, so good. I want to go back to assumption number 5 was everyone has a shared understanding of the vision, concepts, or goals. No, they don't. What we have been doing is working and no one wants to change it. And I want to address the last part of that. No one wants to change it. I think we make that assumption, but I would absolutely believe there are people who want to change it, but they are overridden by, is overridden a word? They are overcome by the more vocally, what's the word I'm looking for? Vocally ambitious people.
Just the vocal people,
The vocal
usually
people.
your veterans,
Yes.
just your people who vocalize
Yeah.
all the things.
Okay, and I'm going to stand up, and you might see my workout pants, just so you know. I might be dressed nice up top, but I'm comfy down bottom. Okay, so just kind of thinking about that, there's this great book called Wiser, Getting Beyond Groupthink to Make Groups Smarter, because we fall into groupthink, and that's where this assumption comes out, like, no one wants to change this. I beg to differ. I bet there's someone that does. Okay, assumption number 7. People are equipped with self and social awareness. These adults that come into the workforce, they naturally are equipped with self and social awareness. What do you have to say to that assumption?
I'm going to take it back to experience. When what I might think as someone who is socially aware, and I believe someone is socially unaware, that person's experience may be completely different. But I'm going to take it back to the conversation that we just had about this gentleman who responded to the leader's post.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that gentleman was not socially aware, in a sense of she did not elicit opinions about collaboration. She was not asking, what is your definition? She was asking for a solution to the problem.
Yep.
And this person felt the need to insert their opinion, a negative opinion about collaboration, which in turn just perpetuates the problem.
Yes.
Especially if one of that leader's teachers is reading the email or reading the posts. So I feel like just because you put a bunch of adults on social media doesn't mean that they are socially aware. And it goes back to social awareness is difficult to coach.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, especially if you are not, maybe you're not the team leader, but you understand that some of your teammates are not socially aware. But it is okay to have collaborative conversations about agreements and norms. And, because I would even think then, if you have this assumption that they're all aware, my first question would be, what are the team's agreements?
Yeah.
And are they upholding them? What does that look like?
Right. And I would bet that several people would respond with, what do you mean by agreements? Or we don't have agreements. And I will also say, as has been common for me, in my consulting, I will meet with teams. And when we begin, I always begin with, here is our objective. Here is our success criteria. Yes. What are some norms we're going to come around together? Listen, I will be met with crickets because people don't understand what I mean by norms. And they immediately go to, oh, you mean rules that we'll follow. And it's the same ones every time that really don't support our collaboration. It's just like some stuff you throw on the wall and we don't give it any credit and we don't really pay it too much attention. Yeah.
And I would even go as far, and this is something I want to encourage everyone to do, adjust your norms and adjust your team agreements based on your goals. So as your goals evolve, your goals change your norms, because the way that I show up as someone who wants to problem solve maybe a parent issues, like we're having a couple of weeks of a goal solving parent issues. Uh-huh. I might show up a lot differently than I would if we're coming together to solve solutions around classroom behaviors.
Yep.
And so those are different ways that we can show up. The team has to calibrate those norms, though. So if you say tame your technology as a norm, I need to know what that means. Like, right. I need you, like you said, give success criteria. Let's define it together. Yep. Because when you don't, and this is another symptom that an assumption has been made, people become frustrated with their teammates. Yep. And then people are passive aggressive. Mm-hmm. I even like Ashlyn Abney. She's referring back to what we were talking about earlier about people being vocal. She said vocally aggressive. Yeah. You're going to have some team members who are vocally aggressive. Yeah. And that is unfortunate and creates toxic environments.
Yeah. Guys, in the comments, we would love for you to just add another comment and tell us, like, Are you seeing people who are either not self-aware or not socially aware? And you can just put hashtag self-awareness or hashtag social awareness if you see those things lacking in teams at school. And I think it's hard enough for people to be self-aware. If you have not taken the time to dig into what unique things make you who you are, then you don't know exactly how you contribute to the team. And if you don't know exactly how you contribute to the team, then other people don't know exactly how to tap into your geniuses or tap into your strengths. And I love that you put that on the PDF that we have for people to download. At the end of this episode, you are going to get a link to be sure you can download this PDF that has all of the things that you are going to want to look for to see if these assumptions are at play in your teams. So that's one of them, is team members have not tapped into one another's genius or strengths. And it's absolutely true and evident. Okay, man. So I feel like we could just go on and on, but let's review those last three assumptions. Assumption 5, everyone has a shared understanding of the vision, concepts, or goals. 6, what we have been doing is working and no one wants to change it. Nope. And then 7, people are equipped with self and social awareness. They're not, even though we would like for them to be. Okay, so we're going to come to a close in our conversation. But to close, I would really love to know if you guys will put in the comments, if you're here live with us, and you can, what was most useful for you tonight in this conversation? Just type that in the comments. And what do you feel like, Alyssa, is one thing you would hope viewers would take away from our conversation?
The biggest thing, and man, girl, can I tell you, I have taken this document that we created, and I have the great privilege to coach principals and instructional coaches. I've used it all week. And I've asked them, I've been like, okay, let's talk about some assumptions we might be making about the teams. And the biggest takeaway out of everything is, no matter the dynamics on your collaborative team, because no two teams are the same, right? No matter the dynamics, the key factor has to be communication. And that is communication, clarity of the goal, of the team agreements, of the concepts. Everything needs to be clearly defined. Even when it comes to your social awareness, what is it that I need from you, you need from me? And what are some pet peeves? Having those conversations are just so important. And so my biggest thing that I want everyone to take home tomorrow, when you meet with your team on Monday, and you have whether you're a partnership, a group of 20, doesn't matter. Clarity, and ensure that everyone understands the expectations of everything.
Yep. What is your goal? How can you bring clarity to it? I love it. Okay. So we're going to end there, but you know what? I know that you have a really exciting thing coming up that you can offer people. Can you share a little bit about that?
So I have a free, it's called the Crabtree Coaching Leadership Lab, and it really is just an online experience. We're doing it for 3 months. And when you join, it is all about honing in on our leadership capacity. No matter where you are in your leadership journey, if you're an aspiring leader, a current leader, maybe you are, you could be an office manager, you could be a CEO, doesn't matter. But we are just kind of like going through different ways to build our own strengths as a leader. So if you're interested in joining, you don't really have to do much. All you have to do is join, receive the free resources, and make this community, the Crabtree Coaching Collaborative community, part of your community. Participate in it, because community and collaboration is so important. And so if you are interested in joining the Crabtree Coaching Leadership Lab, please join. It's free through March 31st, using the bit.ly and /CCLL23.
Yes, I love it. Okay, guys, Thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you next time we meet together. It's going to be in a webinar, and we are going to be equipping you even more to combat these deadly assumptions. Thanks for joining us, Alyssa.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Everyone.
I want to give a big thank you to you guys for tuning in, and I would love for you to do me 2 solid favors. Number 1, if you've enjoyed this or any other shows, please hit subscribe. I've got a lot of great guests and content coming up, and I don't want you to miss any of it. 2, if you know of someone who may be interested in building cohesive, vision-driven teams that collaborate well, share this show with them. And until next time, I want you to go off and have the great collaborative conversations that help you and the people you work with to completely unleash your impact. See you later.